Man, get in here, get in here, get in here, get in here, get in here. I figured out we were set up. We were set up from the beginning. We were set up like 200 years ago. And I realized that it's two maps can actually determine who's the Negro, right? And who's the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, and the Canaanites. Watch these two maps actually tell who's who. So let's start off with the word Negro. This map is literally telling you they not like us. What did y'all do that bad with God say, hey, y'all not like us? Who is y'all? Talking about some black Americans come to the motherland. You tried to set us up.
And this video is a two-hit wonder. It hits on 2 points. The Hebrew Israelites and the we were already here people. Because in the comments of his video, and there's a second part that I'm going to play, those are the two groups that come in. Oh, I wish I had known this. Oh, they was hiding the truth. We know the truth. Oh, what we do with the truth now. All right, first of all, let's find it interesting that they're easily willing to take information from a Caucasian when in previous things, if anybody says anything against their theories, then you're taking Caucasian information. So only when it fits their narrative does the Caucasian information matter, because J.D. Douglas and Morel Tenery are both Caucasians. And when they created the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, this thing was created by a man who was born in 1922, a man who would have been had the availability of talking to people who were slaves, talking to people who were slave masters, people who fought in the Civil War. Those types of people were still alive in plentiful numbers during that time frame of his growth. The fact of the matter is, the main reason why the part that comes in the question that he put up there on his thing concerning the fact that Ham was not the progenitor of the Negroes, that this came into major debate and wasn't even realized by most people until around 2018 by a Jehovah's Witness who was expressing the disdain for the for that writing because it creates racism. And why would you say that? The Hebrew Israelites like to take that statement of Negro land, that the Negroes did not come from Ham, and then draw a line to say that the Negroes came from Shem. And so since the Negroes came from Shem and they were in that portion of West Africa, and we know that those people in West Africa who were even conquered by regions like the Dahomey were then sent to the Americas as slaves. So therefore, the Hebrew Israelites try to draw their connection of Deuteronomy 28 with that. We're going to break down the whole Negro land thing in just a second. The other end of that is the people who are not realizing that this man was actually saying that, making that statement that had nothing to do with Hebrew Israelites. That statement was being made because at the time frame of his upbringing and the people who would have raised him, the common teaching was that Negroes were a subspecies from the creation of Adam and Eve, that from the children of Israel, that all the other people in the Mediterranean who were created stem from the children of Noah, but the Negro did not stem from the children of Noah. So therefore, the Negro could be enslaved for life. The Negro could be treated poorly. This is one of the teachings of John Smith when he created the Mormons, because that was the mentality of people in the 1800s and before. And J.D. Douglas is being raised by people who came up in the late 1800s and mid 1800s. So that teaching was already prevalent. And that was the understanding that he had, but it did not raise any eyebrows until 2018. And now they're trying to jump on it and say, oh, see, the information was already there. They never considered us that, but they considered you Negroes so that you can be enslaved, not saying that you were Israelites.
Now watch this. Who was the original Egyptians and Ethiopians? Well, here go an American map that explicitly says we are the Ethiopians. But you tried to give us your heritage and steal our heritage and say we came from you. Naughty, naughty, naughty.
So this part is on a level of stupidity that I really don't want to deal with. And I can actually just squash it really in 10 seconds, but let me give it a full breadth of knowledge here. So he pulls up this map, but evidently he read nothing concerning the map, or somebody just told him some stuff. Now, in the comments of his video, people were saying, yes, see, this proves that this was the real place where the Bible was happening in the Americas, and the ark should be found here in America, that all these things were happening here in America, and we were already here, and they flipped the maps and so on and so forth. But I want you to look at this map a little closely. So now when you look at this map, he's looking at this up here that's seated as far as it's seated right on top of South America. Now, even though below it, it says America, right? He's looking at the fact that the title caption for the map that says Mar de Ethiopia and Oceanus Ethiopicus, he's looking at that and not doing a translation. And check this out. What does it say in the middle of the southern part of the Atlantic? It's Oceanus Ethiopicus. It's not written all the way across Ethiopicus. So you got the middle line and the second line, but that all comes out to Ethiopicus. So what does that mean? What it means is that at the time frame of the making of this map, the northern part above the tropics was called the Atlantic Ocean. Below the tropics was called the Ocean of Ethiopia. The Ocean of Ethiopia, meaning the Ocean of the Blacks as it is related to the landmass of Africa, of the black part of Africa. Northern Africa was known as Arab. Then you had the European continent. That's the Atlantic. Below in Africa is the land of the blacks, the Negro land. What does Ethiopia mean? Black people. So it's the ocean of the black people. So the title card of this that says Mar de Ethiopia means sea of the black people. And that's what they call the southern part of what we just now call the Atlantic Ocean. Let me put it in modern day perspective for you. Imagine a person 100 years from now. They look at a map, and that map, because they've got, and they're in America, let me put it clear, they're in America. And let's say Trump's thing of the Gulf of America never gets repealed. So then, therefore, a person 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 500 years from now, will find an old map or a map out of Mexico and say that, oh, that was called the Gulf of Mexico, not the Gulf of the Americas. So therefore, there was a big change. The people in the Northern America are really the Mexicans, and the people in South America and the northern part of South America, they're the Mexicans too. Because if this was the Gulf of the Americas, because it touched North America, Central America, and South America, then when it was the Gulf of Mexico, that means at one point, Mexico used to control all of that. So it's the Gulf of Mexico. They trying to trick us. That's essentially what you have here. Essentially, that's what you have. Is that they call they call the lower part the ocean or the sea of Ethiopia, and nothing more and nothing less than that. But he's trying to draw these conclusions, and people are believing this. You're looking at the title card of a map. It says America on the goddamn map itself, but you're going to ignore that because that doesn't fit your narrative. Because you want the story to be that we were already here, or everything happened over here in the Americas, or that there's some conspiracy that it was we the Egyptians, we the Israelites that came over. No. And no Egyptian thinks that they came from the damn people in the Bible. No, they don't. They don't think they came from them. Well, I ain't gonna say that. Even Muslims and stuff, they do. But Egyptians don't come from them. They was around before Noah. They were around during Noah. They were around after Noah. So were the Ethiopians. But y'all have a great day. And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.